Folks, another state has declared a state of emergency due to monkeypox. It is growing across the country and across the world. Nearly 800 cases have been reported in California. Governor Gavin Newsom declared the state of emergency on Monday and will help coordinate a government-wide response. This comes after cities, after New York State as well as San Francisco declared public health crisis. We're joined now by Dr. Alexea Gaffney. She's an infectious disease expert, and we're certainly glad to have her here. So first and foremost, Dr. Gaffney, what the hell is monkeypox?
So monkeypox is an infection primarily of the skin caused by a orthopox virus or monkeypox virus. It is not at all related to chickenpox. I've gotten a lot of questions about that. So we'll just get that out the way. If you've had chickenpox or been vaccinated against it, it doesn't matter. It doesn't help you with monkeypox because chickenpox is not a true pox virus. So monkeypox, smallpox, pox viruses are viruses that can be transmitted by multiple routes of transmission. And what they clinically present with are these very prominent pox marks or fluid-filled blisters or lesions on the skin. And in the case of monkeypox, you often, but not in the case of this particular outbreak that we're seeing, but in the traditional case of monkeypox, you would often see lesions that began on the face, around the mouth, around the eyes, and then kind of spread through the rest of the body. In the cases that we're seeing with these current outbreaks of monkeypox throughout the United States and throughout Europe and outside of Central and Western Africa, where they traditionally occur, we're seeing spread of lesions that are starting in the stomach, the abdominal region. We're seeing lots of cases where people are having lesions on the genitals and the rectal mucosa, because although this is not a sexually transmitted infection, we are seeing sexually related exposures and possible sexual transmission. But the primary mode of transition is through respiratory droplets, right? So if I'm speaking and you and I are within 3 or 4 feet of one another and I have those little spittles of saliva that you can see, that can carry that virus that can land on your face. It can land in your mouth or in your nose. And that's why we see the traditional spread from the face down. Monkeypox virus can also be spread through skin-to-skin transmission, right? So if I have lesions on my skin, whether I know they're monkeypox or not, if someone else has skin-to-skin contact with those lesions, they can pick up the virus that way. So some of this, quote unquote, sexual transmission may be secondary to skin contact. And then not everybody who's experiencing monkeypox in this current, public health emergency is having skin lesions. We're seeing patients who have lesions in the mouth, in the back of the throat. We're seeing people who have lesions in the eyes. We're seeing people who have lesions in the rectal tissue or the anal tissue when we're talking about sexually transmitted cases. And so there's multiple routes of transmission. And so, this picture here that you're showing is probably someone who's had the infection for some time. Their lesions are starting to crust over. And that's what happens, right? Someone, and I didn't even mention this, let me take a step back. So the rash is not even the first symptom, Roland. People first become ill with what we call a prodrome of flu-like symptoms. And we always say that, right? Flu-like symptoms. And you can have flu-like symptoms even when you don't have the flu. So you can have fever, fatigue, malaise, headaches. You might have swollen glands or lymph nodes in the neck area, the armpits, the groin, usually in proximity to where the virus was picked up. And then people may have muscle aches, joint pains, and then a week or so after that, they may begin to develop these rashes. And initially, the rashes are like flesh-colored, and they just start to become raised. They're blister-like, but they don't have that thin, transparent, clear fluid-filled appearance like chickenpox or herpes lesions. The lesions are usually thicker, and then as the lesions age, which is over a period of 2 to 4 weeks, the lesions begin to crust over, and eventually the scabs will fall off, and then the skin will heal. Unlike chickenpox or herpes virus outbreaks, the lesions that monkeypox causes can be very scarring and very disfiguring. So someone like this person here may have evidence of those pock marks for months or years to come, as opposed to other herpes viruses. Yeah, where you get thin blisters, they may heal up and you may never know they were there. So the running joke on social media is that, oh, people will take monkeypox virus more seriously because people don't mind if they're sick or dead, but people don't want to be ugly. And, I think that's just, points to where we are as a society, as a culture, and as a nation. Like, this is a very serious condition. It can have serious consequences beyond just this scarring. And, here we are yet again, cracking jokes, stigmatizing this condition and trying to link it to solely one group of people. And we'll get into that. But in more serious cases, beyond just feeling terrible for a week and having painful rashes that can persist for 2 to 4 weeks, people can also have encephalitis, so inflammation of the brain. I talked about how lesions can involve the eye, so they can involve the eyelids, but they can also involve like the whites of the eyes, the sclera or the conjunctival tissue. And when that happens, there can be a lot of inflammation and a lot of scarring. People can have visual disturbance and even blindness as a result of that. People can have vasculitis or inflammation of the blood vessels. People can have gut symptoms. So this virus is not just limited to the skin. And so we've seen cases of men who have sex with men who have had rectal involvement and have incredible rectal pain, incredible abdominal pain, lack of appetite, inability to eat. Pain.
So Doc, hold on. I want you to hold right there. Hold on right there, because I want you to explain why is the World Health Organization recommending that gay and bisexual men limit sexual partners? This one of the stories I pull up here says about 99% of monkeypox cases are among men, and at least 95% of those patients are men who have sex with other men. Why? So, and you have the New York Times has a story here where the headline was, "In monkeypox, gay men confront a crisis with echoes of the past."
Yeah, so it really is just where the virus happened to land, right? So if I went to Europe, or if I went to Central Africa or Western Africa and I was patient zero who happened to bring monkeypox back home with me, or I happened to have, close contact with someone who had that type of travel history or exposure, and I happen to bring that virus back to my community, then we would be saying what? Monkeypox is a disease of Black women physicians or Black women entrepreneurs. So it just happens to be that the virus first landed in someone in that community. And then think about our social networks, right? Roland, you probably hang with people who work in media. I hang with people who work in medicine, and gay men or men who have sex with men, whether they identify as gay or not, are hanging out with and socializing with other gay men and men who have sex with men. So because of the very contagious nature of this virus, and because you can get it through multiple routes of transmission, it is spreading within that community. And so, yes, we do want to protect that community because that's where the virus is predominating right now. But we are kidding ourselves if we believe that this virus is going to solely stay within the gay male population. It can be spread through so many different routes. And we didn't even talk about the fact that you can get it from furniture, bed linens, shared towels, so think about.
Okay, so let's stop right there, because I was on a thread earlier with some folks, and we are headed to Las Vegas for the National Association of Black Journalists Convention. And these folks are like, oh, hell. Some of them talking about they bringing their own bed linen, all kind of other stuff. So, all right, how then, look, I got to give a speech tomorrow in Tampa. I then fly to Las Vegas. All right. So how does a person protect themselves? Is there is there a disinfectant that we can actually buy to spray on the sheets and the linen? How do we, and then how do you even know somebody potentially has it? If it's so contagious, how do you protect yourself?
So think about like with COVID, right? If you were someone who was serious about preventing COVID and you were going to a media function, a family function, a church function, you would ask, well, what's the rules, right? Do people have to wear masks? Do people have to isolate? Or am I gathering with a group of people who is taking precautions not to go out and get infections? A lot of my patients who know they're at risk, they come in and tell me, Dr. Gaffney, I'm concerned I'm at risk because, I'm going to bars, I'm going to clubs, I'm going to the hangouts and the meetup spots. I don't necessarily have multiple partners, but my partners have multiple partners. Or, people are saying I have multiple partners and I know this is what they're linking this virus to, but it's more than that. So really it's about knowing what the people you are in contact with are up to and knowing whether or not you are surrounded by a group of high-risk individuals. So I'm still wearing my
mask. Doc. Okay, hold on. All right. So hold on. All right. Okay, so hold on. So it's a perfect example. Okay, so I'm going to a convention. Mm-hmm. It's going to be 3,000 people there. Mm-hmm. It's in Las Vegas. Mm-hmm. Okay. I don't know where the hell these people have been. So if you can get monkeypox that's on furniture and whatever the hell, what the hell are we supposed to do?
So we're same thing like we've been doing, right? Wash our hands. Hopefully the hotel or convention center that you all are visiting is doing things like disinfecting the surfaces, tabletops, desktops, the chairs that you all will be seated in. Bed linen should be washed in a hotel with hot water and some type of disinfecting process. So hopefully you're staying somewhere where the bed sheets and bed linens have been changed. That's all you can do. That's all you can ask.
Is there anything? So I had someone say they were going to get. Hold on one second. They said they were going to get the Clorox disinfecting mist for the sheets. Waste of money, or does that actually work?
I mean, you can disinfect a non-porous surface with bleach or disinfectants that are labeled as being antiviral or killing viruses on contact. With bed sheets, bed linens, I mean, you would have to saturate them and let them dry. So that's a little challenging. I would go somewhere where they have good ratings and where I think they're, cleaning their bed linens. And I suppose you could Lysol the sheets, but no one can make any promises regarding that. In terms of what you could realistically wipe down and disinfect when you get on the airplane, right? Wipe down the window, wipe down the armrest, right? Wipe down the seatbelt buckles, wipe down the tray tables, and then clean your hands with disinfectant afterwards. I wouldn't be wearing short shorts or short pants on an airplane, a train, or any of those things. I'd be wearing long pants, because you're sitting in a seat for hours and they're not cleaning planes the same way they did when COVID first landed. And I'm sure they're not changing their cleaning practices just because a particular group of people is now predominantly impacted by monkeypox. We don't see this as an overall public health issue. We do. It is. We know it is. But general society doesn't. The news doesn't. And it's being reported as just affecting this one group of people. And until that changes, we're not going to see the types of universal precautions or universal cleaning where we can expect to just go sit down on any random chair, airplane seat, train seat surface and feel safe and protected. So for me, I don't ever get on an airplane in shorts. And this certainly would not be a time where I would start doing that. I would continue to wipe things down with disinfectant and clean my hands as we have been doing over the course of the pandemic. I've never been on a plane without a mask, even pre-pandemic, but certainly since the pandemic. And I have no intention to do so. Nothing on an airplane is so amazing that I need to be breathing in the air of the people around me, because sick people get on and off planes every single day.
All right, so I just posted in this chat. I said I have a black infectious disease expert on now, and she said that Clorox disinfectant ain't gonna do shit. She said you would have to saturate them and let them dry, and the response was, "I'm bringing my own sheets."
So listen, bring your own.
Lord,
but there's so many things to talk about, and so many things that we talk about in the background as a medical community that the general public is not privy to. So when I'm on a call and we're talking about what's happening with monkeypox around the country and around the world, there have been cases where someone who works in a healthcare setting or someone who's taking care of someone with monkeypox, like stripped the bed and gathered up the sheets and got monkeypox infection that way, right? Because we just said this virus can live on the surface of things. So you don't want to be sharing towels and washcloths, and you want to make sure, yes, that you have access to clean bed linens, but you better doggone protect your skin if you're going to go in a hotel with the concern in your mind that I need to bring my own sheets because I don't trust their sheets. Well, if you don't trust their sheets, you don't want to take them up with, short sleeves on and gather them and go throw them in the corner. Now you've had skin-to-skin contact with a fomite or an inanimate object that can potentially spread this infection. So there's so many things to think about. And I think we just have to be, reasonable. We have to keep our wits about ourselves, and we just have to take basic precautions. Like, I'm shocked that people didn't really have a habit of just washing their hands and keeping their hands clean pre-pandemic. I'm glad that folks who didn't have learned, but we have to keep that up at this point. I know it's a lot.
Shit, COVID, monkeypox, this shit is depressing. And all right, I know I got some questions from my panel.
Ask away.
Let me just go ahead with the questions from my panelists. I got Demario Solomon Simmons, civil rights attorney and founder of Justice for Greenwood. Michael Imhotep, host the African History Network show. Dr. Cleo Monago, social architect, chief advisor, Black Men's Exchange. Glad to have all three of y'all here. I know Demario is real happy. The Omega convention is over because that monkeypox could have spread real quick there. With all the shenanigans that were happening in Charlotte, but we. Oh, you didn't think I was going to take a shot?
There's going to be some skin contact. Y'all don't keep y'all's clothes on.
Let their ass know, Doc. See?
There's some Omegas around.
See?
There's going to be some clothes off and some skin-to-skin contact.
So, any Omega meeting can be a breeding ground for monkeypox. All right, Mario, you get the first question then.
I went to a HBCU, I know.
Demario, you muted.
Wait, we can't hear you. You're muted.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I was laughing so hard. My God, I can't even say anything. Bros, keep your shirts on. The sister, the doctor just said you can't even wear shorts on a plane. I mean, this stuff, I'm feeling rolling. This stuff is crazy. Monkeypox. Doc, I know you already said it, but can you just once again, what is the best way to protect yourself in addition to keeping all your clothes on, to my brother and my frat brothers?
So know what's going on in the environment that you're traveling to, right? If I'm in New York, we have the highest number of cases, and there are hot spots for the cases based on people's social activities and social behaviors. So if I am going to travel in a state where there's a higher prevalence of the virus, and I know I'm going to hang out with a group of folks who are more likely to have the virus just based on people's social networks and where the virus is spreading right now, then maybe I'm going to fall back, right? But if I'm a journalist, I'm just going to hang out with journalists who've been generally at work. They're not on the party scene. And hopefully they're doing basic things like wearing masks and washing their hands, and that they're reasonable people who would stay their butts at home if they had flu-like symptoms for any reason. Then I feel pretty reasonable about that, right? We tend to run in similar circles, whether it is our work groups or our social groups or our parenting groups or whatever the case may be. So you kind of know who's taking things seriously and who's not, and you can just kind of survey and ask questions. Beyond that, you're going to keep wearing a mask because you don't want to pick up COVID or other respiratory viruses or things that are out there. You're going to wash your hands. You're going to avoid touching your face or touching your skin unnecessarily. And you're going to avoid close contact with people whom you don't know and who you don't know what they've been up to. Now, when you gather with 3,000 people for working purposes and things like that, well, maybe you're not going to wear your mask on the stage to give the talk or whatever, but maybe if there's a huge networking event or everybody's in the room, you might keep your mask on when you're shoulder to shoulder with a bunch of folks, or standing in a circle within 6 feet talking to a bunch of folks. Protect yourself in all the other ways that you can from everything else out there, COVID and otherwise. And then, we don't all have access to a monkeypox vaccine. So the most important thing to do is, if you develop symptoms, go seek medical attention immediately.
And Doc, first of all, you must have never been to an NABJ conference. They're going to be partying and all of that stuff. That's what Roland does. I thought you knew that.
It's a lot damn safer than Omega convention. I can tell you that.
I don't know. I've been to plenty of NABJ conferences with you, Roland. I don't know how safe it is. Now, Doc, one other question, and I'm done. What are the symptoms?
Trust me, it's safer than y'all conclave.
Hey, shout out to our new grand boss, his brother Ricky Lewis. But Doc, what are the symptoms besides?
Hey man, come on. We ain't got time for all that. Focus on monkeypox.
So before the rash occurs, people will have what we call a prodrome. So early symptoms are very nonspecific. It may be fever, but it may not be fever. But people typically will get fatigue or, feel very tired or malaise. They'll have headaches, muscle aches, joint pains. They may have swollen glands or lymph nodes in the neck, armpit, or groin area. And that's typically related to the area of the body where they had exposure or contact with the virus. And then a week or so after that, or a week to 2 weeks, people can begin to develop the rash. And the rash starts off as firm, fluid-filled, I'm going to say blisters, but they're not really blisters because they have a thicker skin or thicker wall than a typical blister would. And they usually pop up in crops or clusters, and lesions can appear at different times. So, and that can occur over a course of 2 to 4 weeks is typically how long people are sick. So if people, are not feeling well, they need to stay their butts at home. And people, if they're not feeling well, they need to, reach back to the people that they've had previous contact with and see if anybody has been diagnosed with anything. Of course, you're going to screen for all the things that you would get screened for, right? Do you have COVID or not? Tests are very readily available. Do you have flu? Do you have some other identifiable condition that can be easily tested for? Because testing for monkeypox requires us as clinicians right now to find a lesion, unroof that lesion, scrub the base of it with a special swab, and send it to a lab for PCR testing to see, is it monkeypox or does it test positive for orthopox virus? And that's how we're confirming cases right now. I gave you way more than you asked for.
All right. All right. Well, Dr. Gaffney, I appreciate it. I've got my next guest waiting. We've got lots more questions, but it won't be the last time we actually have some questions with regarding to this issue of monkeypox. Hopefully these people will take care of themselves because, damn, we already got dealing with COVID, now monkeypox. I don't even want to know what's the third. You know, they say this stuff works in threes. I don't even want to know what's number three. Dr. Gaffney with polio, Lord. All right.
Yeah,
Doc, we appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for having me on. You all have a great day.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
When we invest in ourselves, we're investing in what's next for all of us. Growing, creating, making moves that move us all forward. Together, we are Black beyond measure.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punches!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay Black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?